Welcome to The Whispering Dark. Today we look at the true stories behind the horror film The Strangers. Ah, my precious never-mourned, those who walk unseen, unremembered, drawn ever toward the whispering dark. You seek knowledge, not comfort, truth, not solace. And so I bring you a tale that will burrow into your mind, waiting for you in the quiet hours of the night. You believe you are safe. You believe the walls around you will hold. The locked doors will protect you. The silence outside means you are alone. But you are wrong. For horror does not knock. It simply waits patiently for the moment you forget to be afraid. The film The Strangers was not born from imagination, no. It was woven from reality, stitched together from horrors that truly happened. And tonight, we shall examine the events that inspired it, the whispers of true fear, the echoes of real suffering. You may not sleep after this tale, but I have long since forgotten the comfort of slumber. The night stretches on and I must remain ever watchful. I am Randalph Scott, chronicler of the macabre, harbinger of dread, and your most devoted guide through the abyss. In the whispering dark, unseen horrors creep through the fabric of reality, revealing true events behind the fictional terror of The Strangers, where chaos and randomness drive horrific tales of loss and fear. But you see, horror never comes from one source alone. Like shadows stretching at dusk, it spills outward, growing darker with each passing tale. The Strangers was not inspired by a single event, but by two horrors, tangled together in fate's cruel design with one fantastic theory from journalists sprinkled on top. Let us tackle the theory first. A cabin in the woods, a place meant for escape, for laughter, for retreat. And yet on the night of April 11th, 1981, in the small, quiet town of Keddie, California, retreat became a tomb. Inside cabin 28, a mother, her son, and a family friend were found bound and slaughtered. Tied with medical tape. Stabbed repeatedly. Bludgeoned with a claw hammer. The walls streaked with blood. A crime so violent, so personal, that surely the killer must have been known to them. And yet, no suspect was ever named. The two youngest children in the house were found unharmed, spared for reasons unknown. And a fourth victim, a 12-year-old girl, was missing. Vanished. Gone. To this day, no one knows why, no one knows who. But the cabin has since been demolished, erased from the earth as though the memory of it might fade too. But memories, my precious never-mourned, do not die so easily. It was the 1980s. The director of The Strangers, Brian Bettino, was just a boy. Him and his little sister were home alone. Suddenly, a knock at the door. Simple, yes? A harmless thing. But when his sister answered, a stranger stood there. A woman asking for someone who did not live there. His sister, confused, told her so. She smiled, left, that was all. Or so they thought. Later, he learned that these were burglars checking for empty homes, that if no one had answered, they would have entered. That, had they remained silent, they might not have remained at all. It was a knock that was not really a question. A knock that was a test. A house in Los Angeles, a warm summer night, a gentle knock at the door. It was August 8th, 1969. Inside, actress Sharon Tate, 8 months pregnant, sat with her friends, unaware that the night was about to be swallowed whole by madness. The Manson Family cultists, young, devoted, grinning with the fever of insanity, broke in. What followed was a massacre. Tate stabbed 16 times. Her friends shot, strangled, butchered. The walls smeared with blood, messages scrawled in terror. They did not know her. She had done nothing to them. She was merely home. The book following the Manson murders, Helter Skelter, was Bettino's main inspiration for the film. You see, my precious never-mourned, horror is not a punishment. It is not doled out in proportion to guilt or sin. It is random, chaotic, uncaring. And so we arrive at the film itself, The Strangers, a tale where horror arrives without reason. Before we proceed, a word of caution. What follows is a tale already written in blood, its ending carved into the marrow of its victims. If you wish to experience it unspoiled, turn back now. But let's be honest, you won't. Curiosity is a dreadful thing, and you are already in too deep. So stay, listen, and let the horror unfold. James Hoyt and Kristen McKay arrive at a secluded summer home, carrying the weight of a shattered engagement. James had proposed. Kristen had said no. The tension lingers in the air, thick as the quiet, endless woods surrounding them. A knock at the door. A young woman, barely visible in the dim porch light, asks a strange question. Is Tamara home? James sends her away, but the knock leaves an unease that does not fade. He leaves to buy cigarettes. Kristen is alone. And then another knock. The same woman, the same question. The unease grows sharper. Then she sees it. A masked figure standing inside the house, watching, unmoving. The quiet becomes suffocating as Kristen realizes she is no longer alone. The terror escalates. Missing phones, doors forced open, shadowy figures lurking just out of reach. They are toying with her. James returns, dismissing her fears, until they both see her. Dollface, standing in the yard, watching. Their car sabotaged, their escape denied. The torment intensifies. Every door they open, every step they take is already anticipated. When James's friend Mike arrives, a panicked mistake leads to his death. The strangers never had to lift a finger. The fear is working for them. Desperation drives James to seek help in the barn, but they are waiting. They are always waiting. One by one, the couple is taken, bound, powerless. Kristen, trembling, demands to know why. Dollface's answer is simple: empty. The most terrifying response of all. Because you were home. The masks come off, the knives go in, and in the cold light of morning, two young boys approach the house. They step inside. They see the aftermath. A bloodied hand reaches out, Kristen barely clinging to life. She screams. The boys run. And the strangers? They drive away, unbothered, unchanged, already thinking about the next time. No vendetta, no rage, just choice, just chaos. The most terrifying horror of all, the kind without a reason. And now, my precious never-mourned, you sit in the safety of your homes, watching, listening, believing you are far removed from such terrors. But tell me, what will you do when you hear the knock? I need not remind you to like and subscribe, for I know you will. After all, you have followed my work for years. Perhaps you even remember my starring role in Nosfera 2, The Reckoning, a performance hailed as unsettlingly method and likely illegal in several countries. Ah, those were better days, but I digress. You will return because horror always calls you back. And so until next time, my precious never-mourned, sleep lightly.